Do you have a place that you go to regularly to pray? I do, and it's here in my sanctuary. Now, granted, most of you probably don't have access to an empty sanctuary where you can pray, but I want to take you a spot where I go. It's good for you to have a place to go to regularly, kind of your prayer spot. Jesus had one. In fact, often in the Bible, we're told that Jesus would go to a hillside or on a mountain to pray, sometimes through the night. Well, on the night before Jesus was to be killed, in his hour of greatest need, Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. It's a place he frequented often. He gave teachings there. He prayed there. And again, on that night, when he most needed God, he went to Mount of Olives to pray. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James, and John along with him, and began to be deeply distressed and troubled. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death," he said to them. "Stay here and keep watch." Going a little farther, he fell to the ground and prayed that, if possible, the hour might pass from him. "Abba, Father," he said, "everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Simon," he said to Peter, "are you asleep? Could you not keep watch for 1 hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Once more he went away and prayed the same thing. When he came back, he again found them sleeping, because their eyes were heavy. They did not know what to say. Returning the third time, he said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Enough! The hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." While he was still speaking, a crowd came up, and the man who was called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He approached Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus asked him, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" When Jesus' followers saw what was going to happen, they said, "Lord, shall we strike with our swords?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. Jesus answered, "No more of this." And he touched the man's ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the high priests, the officers of the temple guard, and the elders who had come for him, "Am I leading a rebellion, that you have come with swords and clubs? Every day I was with you in the temple courts, and you did not lay a hand on me. But this is your hour, when darkness reigns." Meanwhile, all his disciples deserted him and ran away. This is the painting that hangs in the front of our sanctuary. It depicts Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane praying. And we're reminded there that Jesus said to Peter, "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation." What temptations do you face on a regular basis? What temptations do you face today? Is it a temptation to give up on something and sleep like Peter? Is it a temptation to turn and go our own way like Judas? Is it a temptation to use our own power instead of relying on God's plan, like the follower who took up his own sword? Is it a temptation not to stand for the name of Jesus, but to desert him instead, like the disciples did that night? Listen to what the author of Hebrews says to you. Because Jesus himself suffered when he was tempted, he is able to help those who are being tempted. Therefore, brothers and sisters who share in the heavenly calling, fix your thoughts on Jesus, the apostle and high priest whom we confess. Christians, pray that God would lead you not into temptation, but deliver you from evil, and fix your thoughts on Jesus.